All right, welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. I'm Brett Geymann, your guest host for the day, joined by several colleagues of mine, Representative Landry, Representative Carlson, and Representative McCormick. And we've been talking mainly about the oil and gas industry, but we've been talking about how McNeese football is better than UL. But also, if you want to be on the show, 844-766-6607. That's the Matthew James hotline. We'd love to take your call and try to answer your questions. And we're going to continue to talk about oil and gas, but we do have some calls stacking up. So we're going to go to the phone, if we could, right now. And I believe Mike Moncla is on hold. Mike, are you there?
I am here.
What's up, guys? Mike? Your favorite four legislators are here in the studio today, and I know that you would love to be with us, but we're glad you called in.
Well, I will definitely be with you for that McNeese UL game, man. I'm looking forward to that.
So you're a McNeese fan too, I heard, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Mike, please set the record straight.
Look, and I'm an STM alumni, so we're excited about having Walker Howard back in Lafayette and playing for the Cajuns, and we're hoping for great things for him and our university.
Well, I'm sorry that you'll suffer one loss when Coach V brings the McNeese Cowboys to see you very soon. So. But I hope you have a great season other than that. So Mike, what's going on we've been talking about the oil and gas industry and how we are working as a legislative group with you and others to do what we can to just make us the most dominant place in the country for investors to come and try to produce. And I know we did some great things in the past session, again, with your help and others. That Jacob Landry did the legacy lawsuit. We reduced severance tax. We've just been trying to really do some great things in the oil and gas industry. But what are your thoughts and comments on where we need to go and what we might have already accomplished?
Yeah, actually sending out a letter today to most of our membership just to kind of let them know of some of the changes that are going to be beneficial to industry. Two of those you just mentioned on the, a new playing field for legacy going forward. We've got, we've lowered the severance tax for new drills, so that's going to be helpful for oil. But, the governor also signed a executive order that is going to lower the royalty on any state lease contracts, and that's pretty huge too. So if there's a workover to do in the inland waters where we have a lot of production, but it's been stagnant with the coastal lawsuits, have really just killed that industry, and Louisiana's production has continued to go down. But if operators in those inland waters in the state leases spend $100,000 minimum spend on a workover, they can cash in on 6% less royalties. So when you talk about royalties or severance, that's bottom line dollars. When you add severance tax at where it's been at 12.5 plus royalties, sometimes up to 25. How many businesses out there day one would like to give 37% to the government? Day one.
Not me.
And so anytime we can lower and get more competitive with our states around us, it's a good thing.
Mike, you make very good points. In business, some years in oil and gas, and I know I'm going to refer back to Rep McCormick, sometimes we stand up and shout and scream and give bonuses with a 10% profit margin. So think about that. With just cutting the all severance, cutting it back like we did, you actually putting money in an operator's pocket to actually bring oil production up and actually maybe go back and work over wells. So you know as well as anybody, you've showed me multiple times the curve. And what has the curve been doing on oil in Louisiana? Can you fill us in?
It's been on a steady decline for decades, really. I'd say probably 15 to 20 years for sure.
Mike. I want people to understand where you coming from. How many rigs did you have that could have worked in inland waters in 2009?
We had 11.
How many you have now?
0.
And what would you credit to having 0 now?
Well, the coastal lawsuits kind of happened at that same time, and then OPEC flooded the market. In between those two things, it has devastated that marketplace. I mean, when you talk about how these attorneys came about naming hundreds of oil companies in these coastal lawsuits, they basically went to the DENR, and anyone that filed a permit to dredge was named in these lawsuits. Come to find out, they had to release a lot of people because they never even did the dredging. And so that's just how they frivolously came up with the names, by just whoever had filed a permit to dredge, you cause coastal erosion. And so anyone that actually had a project to do beyond that, why would they ever go do a project? They know if they have to dredge, they're going to be sued. And it costs you $100,000 a year to defend yourself for nothing.
Hey, Mike, it's Representative McCormick, and we that's you make some very good points. But on another note, let's kind of talk about what we're doing right in Louisiana too. And I know the Haynesville Shale is a shining light up in northwest Louisiana. We were talking about different things we could do to encourage different businesses, and and something I've been trying to make a note on is we have separate tax reductions on the Haynesville Shale. We got an 18-month period when prices of natural gas are at a certain point, and how important it is as a legislature to protect that 18-month period, because that's key. Haynesville Shale gas, you very well know, has a pretty high input cost. So having a little guarantees from the state that you're not going to be so hard on them when it comes to taxing them. I mean, how important is that Haynesville Shale and those small tax incentives we give them with the price of gas gets to a certain low dollar amount?
Extremely important. A lot of other shale plays, particularly like West Texas, is for oil, and those wells are shallower. They're able to drill a 4-well pad in a month. In Louisiana, the Haynesville Shale is deep, and it's very hot temperatures. Tools fail out. It's a much more expensive game in the Haynesville than other shale plays. So, yeah, we need that incentive. Since I've got to LOGA 5 years ago, they've been talking about getting rid of it altogether.
And so we've got to protect that at all costs.
Absolutely. In the original bill that came out, it was lowering it to 6 months, and we negotiated back with legislators and worked well with, Chairman Geymann as well as Speaker DeVilliers and all you guys that are on that committee in natural resources. So we appreciate y'all's help and at least helping us keep it at 18 months.
And when I was in a meeting with Expand a few months ago, and they were talking about their replacement costs to replace the natural gas they were selling, basically keep a drilling program, that they needed $3.25 natural gas to break even. And as you know, and there's been several times in recent past that's been below that. So I just think, we got to look at what's doing right. We were talking about, we're always talking about bringing new businesses in Louisiana, but keeping the businesses we got, like the Haynesville Shale in northwest Louisiana. I live in Caddo Parish. Sadly, I live in North Caddo Parish, where the Haynesville Shale is not located. That's where my property is. But I've benefited greatly because of the roads and bridges from the tax money that the Haynesville Shale pays in property taxes. It is amazing what it's done for our area, and we've got to protect that at all costs. And I think it's important for the listeners to this radio show to know the answer to that question, that we've got to keep these industries running first before we try to promote new industries to coming in this state.
Correct. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is there's another variable that oil and gas operators have to fight all the time, and that variable is the price of the commodity. And so if you look at 3 years ago in the Haynesville, we had 40-something rigs in there. Now we have 20. And why is that? Because the last 2 years, the price of natural gas went from $7 down to $1.70, $1.80, and then kind of nestled in at a little above $2 for the last almost 2 years. So it hasn't been since Trump got back into office that the price of natural gas has gone back up to above $3. So we're hoping it can stay above that threshold, that break-even threshold you were talking about for the next, 4 years for Trump or 3 years for Trump.
Mike, we appreciate you and the work that you've done helping us get these bills passed to help the oil and gas industry, and we look forward to working with you again next session. And thanks for taking time away from your schedule to call in today and share with us. We really do appreciate you and look forward to working with you. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk one more segment about oil and gas and the working group that the legislature has put together and where that may take us for the future. And if you want to be part of the show, 844-766-6607, the Matthew James Hotline. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show.